All right. Welcome back, guys. People, things. I have stuff to say. Stuff to do, and things to say. I have some hopefully copyright free background music until I figure that one out. To fill in the gaps, and today I am going to talk about some things. Specifically, I listened to the recent podcast that the Hated One did, and kind of like my thoughts on his idea of trust and sponsorships. More or less the privacy implication of it, and I2P, because I think that it is something to be had. Maybe some news that has come across my RSS feed. You know, we ball here. We ball and we have thoughts, and that's always a good thing. I think that's like the best way, is to be that guy with a mic and speak into it and think and have thoughts. No script. Yeah, no. So the first thing, I guess, in perspective, the synopsis of the Hated One podcast he just did was relatively a good perspective into the how YouTubers and people in this space make money. Now, obviously, if this is a full-time job and you don't have a regular day job or another source of income, you're essentially the algorithm's bitch. You have to either succeed to the algorithm or curate to the content that leads to better views, etc. Or you have to take sponsorships. Those aren't, I have or affiliate links or courses. I mean, there's so many options that you have, but you only have so much time in a day, and you only have so much effort that you want to put towards to turn a profit, because you don't want to work for free. And then looking at the Hated One's his Patreon, what it brings in, I think he said it's only $2,000 or something. And it's, whether you think that that's a lot or not, that might not be a lot to someone. That might not be livable, especially the time that you put into it, and depending where you yeah, less than $2,000, which is absolutely insane. He has, the lowest tier is like $2, and I think that there's stuff that he can do for free, that he gives away for free. I'm not entirely sure about that. I don't think everything's behind a paywall. And he does really good podcast, and I think he puts out relatively sane, critical thinking content. Whether you agree with it all or not is not the point. I think it's fine to disagree. And I think it's good to understand that a lot of people out there, a lot of people that do this independent type of content, it's not like they have backers, and it's not like they have venture capital, and he's talked about how he's turned down sponsorships and stuff like that, which that's for his own reason. And I kind of agree with the way they do it. Now, I think if you're a food channel and you know nothing about VPNs and you get a VPN sponsorship, I don't believe that there's any malicious intent to push someone to a product that you acknowledge and know that you acknowledge and you know that it is not a silver bullet. But if they hand them a script, they read the script and treat it as a silver bullet. I don't believe that is the illest will of intention. I think that you should always research and educate yourself about the money that you take. But it's not related to privacy, so I somewhat agree that their point was, as long as it doesn't have a conflict of interest of your main field, or where you're super educated about something, and because you're super educated about something and you're talking to maybe an audience that isn't educated about the topic, that could be very misleading or kind of snake oil. Like, I know this is a XYZ and people are coming to you for a solution and you're feeding it as a solution. That could be somewhat problematic from the exchange of money. I have a slight different approach or opinion on it. I think that fundamentally you should somewhat research your product, like the sponsorships that you take, because even if it doesn't correlate to your exact audience, look at, I think it was Entitled Lands. I think they were like kind of I think it was Entitled Lands. They were doing like a ton. It was kind of a scam. Like, they say you like owned land, established titles. That's what it was. And then somebody kind of pointed out you don't really own the plot of land or something, and someone broke it down and was like, hey, this is not like a good they're like kind of like it's not a good deal. Or and I think Betterment was Better Health. Better Health was like is like a online therapist, and they weren't like hiring like actual therapists that were pretty qualified, and people were just my thing is like, be skeptical when you see everyone jump on the sponsorship bandwagon of, I guess, like, I'm going to get to the main point without rambling as much. Be skeptical of when somebody comes to you with a product, even if it's related or not related to the industry. Be skeptical of it. Like, why are they promoting this? Did they do their research? Did they think about this? I think these are things that we should think about. We ought to think about it, because it's especially when you get into like millions of views, you have millions of subs, and this is like, people like take your face value, like your criticism. I believe that is a fundamental responsibility that you have as a creator, to do maybe more than surface research, because you could be losing the trust of the people that follow you. We definitely buy stuff based on recommendation, even if you can blame as much as you want to blame. The person should do their own research. It's not always, kids are impressionable. People that are uneducated about stuff that are impressionable. If I go up to someone and tell, like, I've had multiple people tell me that multiple people that have come throughout, this is anecdotal, but like through my life and they think that a VPN is like a silver bullet, or they think Tor is like where a bunch of like illegal activities happen, or I mean, like antivirus is useless, or XYZ, which it's the privacy and security are relatively a scale. It's a spectrum that you have to land on. If I sit there and if I trust my ISP less and my phone provider less, and I slightly trust my VPN provider more, I'm just transferring the trust to them. And I gotta do a good amount of verification for that. Sometimes it's better to trust your ISP, I guess. I mean, you could have just a shitty VPN company out there. That's why people can make VPN tier lists and say this one's the best and this one's the best and this one's got the best track record. It's like browsers. This is the gateway to the internet. They could be the gateway into your life and learn a lot about you. And this isn't like some crazy like tinfoil hat moment. But what is crazy is people have these browser wars and like these VPN wars, and it's like, dude, the company's not gonna come give you a hand job behind a dumpster. You just need to take it at face value. What do you trust? Who do you trust? Why you trust them? And what information are you willing to give over without, and hope that they don't break that trust? Look at what Firefox did. More or less Mozilla. They've been making some very poor decisions and having very poor answers in it recently. And people talk shit about like Brave left and right. And I'm going to do a video on this at some point, is like no browser's the best. It's just what you think is the best. I think so. This is a very controversial topic. Divest OS has a really good simplification of browsers, and there's also a really good chart that I'll eventually like link in my comment community notes for Android operating systems, like how they do their patches and everything. It's kind of cool. And even as much of as a Graphene OS lover I am, he still says use Android. I mean, use Graphene OS. I mean, it's so his easy comparison of the Android is, and this is something that on the Android operating system that you have to understand. So Firefox has strong per site data isolation. It's good for privacy. Firefox, Focus has it. Firefox, it's proprietary. They have some proprietary libraries. Fence, F-Droid, Fenix, strong. They all have strong per site data isolation. It's good for privacy. So does a lot of other browsers. Like a lot of them have very enhanced. And then you go back down to, except for apparently IceCat. IceCat doesn't. Waterfox has it. All these. Fingerprint protection. Mull has it. I think that's his. It's free to open source. Privacy. But per site isolation process, it doesn't. A lot of these browsers don't have that. It's a security feature. Brave, Chromite, Vadium, Mulch, Chromium, Bromite, all have it. Yes, it sucks that all those are pretty much Chromium, but that per site process isolation is something to be really, really aware of. And how does it work? That's a good question. A high overview and underview. and this is just goes into my point of like trusting the process. A process model isolation is Chromium's process model determines how the documents, workers, and other web contents are divided into processes. First, a process model must identify which part of a program on the web needs to coexist in a single process. Somewhat surprisingly, a program on the web is not a single document plus its subsources, but rather a group of same or similar origin documents that can fully access each other's content. Once these atomic groups are defined, the process model can then decide which groups will share a process. These decisions can be tuned based on platform available resources in chief. The document outlines the goals of Chromium's process and the various ways it used today. It's pretty much a way to help secure the full site isolation. It's good on desktop platforms like Windows, Mac, and Chrome. Partial site isolation is on Chrome, Android, 2 gigs of RAM, and then I'll leave a link. There's a huge document on it. Whether you like Chrome or not, or you think Google is a demon, you need to understand that essentially these are the gateways to your life. And yes, it sucks that Chromium is killing ad blocking. And I beg you, if it does, uBlock Origin, use a VPN, use a DNS provider through them, not separate, because that defeats the purpose of fingerprinting. And literally just simple concept. Their DNS, use Mulvad if you want. Easy. They have an ad blocker built in. Done. I've used it on browsers that don't have built-in ad blockers, and it does an okay job. You can go just straight to your DNS if you want to, and set up like NextDNS, AdGuard DNS, Pi-hole as a DNS sinkhole, and use that, Cloudflare, whatever, and it helps strip a lot of those ads out. Or Pi-hole. There's millions of tutorials. It's bullshit, and I hate it, and I wish that I could just be like, fuck yeah, Firefox. But if you care about security, Chromite's good. Vanadium is good. If you don't have that, you can just use Mulch, or Chromite, or Brave if you trust them, or Bromite. But you have to understand, Bromite is 16 months behind their maintained security updates. Brave is maintained relatively instant. Chromite is within a week. Vanadium is within a day. Mulch is within 2 days. It is not free and open source besides Chromite. It's all proprietary. It's proprietary libraries and GMS, the Google, pretty much the Google part. Pre-site data isolation, privacy, strong, enhanced, basic, strong. Per site processed isolation, you can just go look at the chart if you want. Fingerprint protection, some have it, some don't. If you want probably the best, Chromite's the best. It's free and open source. Strong per site data isolation, pre-site process isolation, security and privacy. Fingerprint protection, it's enhanced. Content blocker, basic plus ad block plus. Force HTTPS, no, you might be able to fucking do that yourself. JIT state disabled. Security, safe browsing, safe no, within a week, make pretty good enhancement. Those are things that you want to JIT state from a security standpoint. You want to disable it. There's even something on you can get Secure Blue browser. You can get a secure Blue browser, which is pretty much carved from Vanadium. I can't say that word. I'm dumb. So check that out. Think about it. Android's isolation process flags are complete. What is per site? Oh yeah, explains what is per site isolate process isolation. Per site isolation is a powerful security feature that seeks to limit the exposure of malicious website scripts abusing the security vulnerability. Firefox calls it per site process isolation. Fission is enabled by default on desktop. Fission is not yet enabled by default on Android. And when manually enabled, it results in severely degraded broken experience. Furthermore, Firefox on Android does not take advantage of Android's isolation process flags for complete finding application services. Standalone Chromium-based browsers strictly isolated websites to their own process. The lack of per-site isolation means that successful exploits is likely to gain more access to other data browser setting passwords without needing a second exploit. It would still need an Android system kernel exploit to further escape the sandbox. It is important to hardening the feature, but the browser isn't completely insecure without assuming it is up to date and that you aren't on the receiving end of the target of a zero-day attack. Furthermore, in Chromium, which is isolated render process, there's still some inherent attack surface of the main process that can allow a single exploit like Firefox. So, that's something to think about. That's just things that people, and the problem with the open source community is they're so stuck on privacy, they don't realize if you have really bad security on the forefront, you have terrible privacy. Then it doesn't fucking matter how good your it's kind of like the Play Store. The Play Store is it's not perfect, but if you download a terrible malicious APK, which you can still get malware through the Play Store because this happened, then because it's quote unquote open source and people are like, it would people would be screaming. That's not always the truth. And you download a malicious APK and then it fucking doesn't matter because you want to have better privacy. Then you just exploited your whole system. Now 0 days on a random Android, probably pretty minimal to low, especially just some random person. But hackers and malware's agnostic. They don't care. They don't care who you are. That you're an invisible person to them. You're just another person. Now, WebView browsers is another thing. You got to make sure it's updated. WebView is pretty much WebView. They cannot offer any per site data processing. Using any WebViewer-based browser is largely not recommended, as they are inherently limited to the web widget for the created. Safe browsing is available if the Google Play service is installed. Available if the WebView provider supports it. Most do. If both the users pretty much have not opted out. Privacy browser does have a very basic. It's pretty much all very basic. FOSS browser, basic. There's some WebView browsers out there. Lightning, DuckDuckGo, FOSS browser, privacy browser, free and open source. Some have basic, strong. It looks like DuckDuckGo's is okay. And then he goes on to that was just a short rant about browsers and people sucking. And just why you should always go and listen to other people's. You have to understand that there's other options out there. It's cool if you want to sit there and fucking hate Google all you want, but that doesn't mean that they have awful bad security. Same thing with Firefox. The mistakes they've made doesn't mean that they're trying to make worse privacy. They need to be called, these things need to be definitely called out. But definitely take the step and make sure that you know what you are giving up, what you're doing, what people are recommending to you, and why they're recommending it to you. What's the motive? It's good to have a motive, and it's good to be hey, use Signal, because Signal's vetted and tested and does a pretty good job in my opinion, at what it does. It's simple. It literally, you just pick it up, you use it. If you can get your friends on it, even better. If you can't, that kind of sucks, but it doesn't mean that it's the worst. I use a browser I have different browsers for different reasons. I have a Firefox browser for certain use cases. I have the Tor browser for certain cases. I have a Chromium-based browser that I use. I use Brave. I use the Secure Blue Chromium browser for stuff that I'm like, I really want to make sure this is isolated, and then I do some extra steps to remove like any cookies, any data. Data pretty much wipes on exit. So it's kind of like Mall, the Malvad browser, and the Malvad browser is good. I mean, it's based on Firefox and whatever. It's just every browser I have has a different purpose. I run some of my one of my browsers in a virtual machine. That's the only one it touches, and I route it through all the traffic through a VPN if I want to. It's all about containerization. I think containerizing stuff, separating stuff. This is why I like Cubes OS. Is essentially one of the best things you can do. Containerize stuff, separate stuff, and if you use a Chromium-based browser and people are worried about the telemetry and the quote-unquote tracking, just give it false information and reject any reject stuff. You can reject and strip a lot of the all the proprietary Google stuff out of there, and it's relatively difficult to avoid Google. I mean, there's literally a micro G touches Google. When people say de-Googled phones, and it still uses micro G, which is outlined in the documents, that there's parts of Google services that would literally break. It's parts of micro G that would break if it didn't have upstream connections through GMS, which is I think the Google microservices, essentially. Google's like, micro G is essentially everyone likes to say like they're de-Google, then they use micro G. It's kind of funny. GMS Core, is a library app providing the functionality required to run apps that use Google Play services. Still uses it. Service framework is a small help you utilize to develop apps developed for the Google Cloud. I mean, it's just very difficult to completely avoid Google. I think the issue is that we're in this weird space where people are like really focused on becoming completely anonymous and disappear, and it's like, that's just not possible, man. You need to find out what you're doing, what you need to hide from, how to hide from it. What are you trying to keep secret? What aren't you trying to keep secret? Like the list of apps that I use. Where's my list? Found it. So I use Feedly. It's like RSS feeder that's offline. I use Open Weather, which I think there's a few other apps that I can do offline. Google Maps, you can do offline if you use that. I use Organic Maps. There's so many options for offline. Kiwix is an offline. Wow. That's interesting. There's a lot of stuff that you can download too that don't have ads injected into it, which is crazy. And then save stuff locally to your phone if you have the space. I mean, I got a 512 gig phone now, and that was probably the best decision ever. Oof, man. I'm not gonna lie. And like notes, there's a ton of like notes apps that don't require like I think I'm starting to revert. Like I have an MP3 player now for my music. I'd like to get an e-reader at some point. That'd be kind of cool. An e-reader would be sick. Because then I can read all my books. Like I can carry more books. You can have the physical versus digital debate all you want. I don't really care. I think there's a use for both. But like it's cool. It would be cool to really break away from the reliance on the internet as much. Like I download all my podcasts the night before to my app that saves it locally, and I turn off my internet and I enjoy my ride and I listen and I have a beautiful time. It's great. I don't gotta worry about getting 60 notifications and worry about all the other semantical bullshit that, well, not semantical, all the other fucking shit that just flies at me. I have a couple books that I carry on me just to read. But now that I'm going off on a tangent, back to, I'm always going to be promoting offline use. Every single time. Back to the original perspective in the topic. On the sponsorship spot. I think people deserve to make a living if they give content that is worth it. Some Ordinary Gamers has talked about how he doesn't rely on YouTube as a full-time job, I believe. And he says because he doesn't want to be enslaved to the algorithm. Now, he does sponsorships, and he probably does have monetization on, maybe. I'm unaware of that. But he makes his money elsewhere with, I think, a full-time job. Which is impressive. The content he puts out and the research he does and everything he puts into it, and he doesn't want to rely on YouTube as a primary form of income, is fucking crazy. That's like, I don't want to sleep type of mentality. The man looks tired, which to me is very impressive, beyond belief. I don't know too many YouTubers that just solely rely like they work a full-time job and they just do YouTube for fun, or I think there's a few that might be able to do the live stream and like live off the live stream, and the Patreon supporters. I think The Right Opinion is one of them. He releases like 2 videos a year. Which is kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't think. Oh, he does. Which is kind of fucking insane. Oh, he doesn't make that much. That's interesting. He only makes like the insane part is like then he's got to be making money somewhere else, or he's just doing it for fun. It's kind of insane that for a person who's only released 128 videos, he releases them so far apart, and his oldest one is like 8 years. I remember I used to just watch his video. I think he's British. I can't remember. Maybe he just sounds British because he's got a top hat. But that's the that's the point. Is like he's releasing such small big gaps in between. And there's other YouTubers that do this. They like release like very like spread out. I think Michael Reeves does the same thing too. But he is like on OTK, so it doesn't really fucking matter. He's got 7 million subs. It's crazy. He's only released 52 videos. I think he's just a relatable person. He's kind of funny. He's relatable and he just does dumb shit, which is awesome. I think he even tried doing like C# for beginners. And then he's like, alright, this ain't doing anything. And then you could probably watch all his content in like, if there was a website that could just, I wonder if there's a website out there that could tell you how long would it take to finish their series. That's what someone should do. Somebody should watch all Mr. Beast's videos. Oh, someone did do it. And I got 135 views. Wow. That's crazy. I think that would be actually torture to sit there and watch all of Mr. Beast's videos. That would be crazy. I don't know if I could even make that. I don't know if I could watch 8 hours of Mr. Beast content. Here's like, huh? Yeah, that's It's weird when people give out this this advice that's so generic. It's like, find unique angle to your content. Find an unusual character in your content. How the moonlight walks skywriting my prodigy. Meet the artist who paints with wine and chocolate. Headlines like these catch an eye without requiring 100 million Orbeez. Mr. Beast has like last to leave, 800,000 keeps it. The thing is, like, these are like pretty generic ideas. $1 versus $1 million. Who wouldn't click on that? Because they're using like, this goes into why YouTube is a cesspool and sponsorships. I mean, like, literally. The problem is people find the success, and because they find the success, they literally are like, I want to be like this, and then we get fucking clones, and a lot of clones, and like, it's so boring now. It's literally boring. The internet is literally boring. And I'm not saying that like everyone on the internet is boring. It's just, if you ever been on a For You page, it's terrible. Unless it's curated to your content, it's really and like the algorithm kind of sucks. Because then you only get fed whatever you want. I don't even know what trends. I try to avoid that because it's so fucking boring. Like, it's kind of boring because you just see the same shit that you would normally see, and you're like, all right, this is it. Okay, this person everyone's releasing about the tri-folding phone impressions. And like just all this other stuff that I genuinely think that I think YouTube could be cooler if it went back where if you just found the coolest stuff I found is by accident. That's why I really liked I like PeerTube, because I just find a lot of random shit on there. If I don't like it, I just move on. I just find all the cool stuff. I found a Pandora. Pandora literally fueled my music. Create like everything that I can everything that I'm into, almost music wise, metal wise, is literally two what do you call it? Two platforms are the sole driving force to essentially my music choices, and when I play any instrument. Pure Volume, which they shut down, which kind of sucked. Didn't know that I found so many bands through Pure Volume. I don't think they shut down. They were like the coolest place on the planet to get music. I think someone bought their domain, because this isn't it. And Pandora. I found a ton of music through Pandora. Their algorithm was so good. It just gave me different bands. Spotify's is like terrible. I don't know how these companies are profitable when they're so free. I know they collect probably a ton of information. Now I just say fuck it, man. Just buy CDs. Buy random CDs. You like it. And then bam. Just throw them in an MP3 player and just listen. Just enjoy it. You can get MP3 players so cheap. It's actually kind of good to revert back to some very simple stuff. Very simple tech. Analog, if you want to call it, or digital that's just not connected. If Apple wasn't such a fat sack of shit show, or if there was a really good secure, I technically could take my phone and just brick it and turn it into a dumb phone. Like remove the SIM card, only rely on the a free available Wi-Fi out there. I should try that for like a week. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I believe what's the name? The guy from 404 Media. He doesn't have a phone. Yeah, he doesn't. I believe he uses for a long time an iPod. Which is kind of crazy. And they also, I think he switched to an iPad or something, but he doesn't have a regular phone. And people should check them out. They're awesome. 404 Media puts out a lot of, I don't like some of it goes back to sponsorship, but I understand they gotta make money. I don't like some of they do merch with, they do ads with BetterHelp, and some of their ads are kind of cringy. They're very YouTube-ish, which I'm not a fan of, but whatever. You can just support them. Their support, I think, is they found a way to do the RSS feed too, apparently, with a subscription. And they don't really. They say they say that the way they do it is kind of crazy. It's Emmanuel Mayberg, I think. That's the guy that I think that's the guy that or is it Joseph? It's one of the guys. Jason? Or is it Emmanuel? It's one of the guys that he doesn't have a phone, which is kind of cool. I think they did a great job. I think it's cool that they branched off and made their own thing, and I believe that what they're doing is very awesome. And I understand they got to make money. Oh, that's what it. Yeah, their subscription isn't even an email roundup for their week stories. Access to a few specific members. Damn, it's a huge discount. I just hate subscriptions, man. They suck. But I get it. You gotta make money. Oh, you get a T-shirt. And they'll shout you out. And a thank you. Yeah, I just hate fucking ads. This is why we should get rid of ads. They suck. They definitely do. But just pay for the content that you consume. If you can. Like, I'm not trying to be like a demon and being like, I don't care if you're broke. Fuck you. No. If you can look at all the subscriptions that you suck money into, and literally just take that and be like, you know what? Do I really use Netflix? Do I really use Spotify? Do I really use this? You know, what's the... I think I saw on self-hosted there's a subscription self-hosted subscription calculator. Isn't that fucking crazy? So if you have... Oh, this is cool. So if you have Netflix and HBO... What's another subscription? Amazon... They have a storage? What the fuck? And then Google or Apple, what's another? Apple, that's another one that people are like, I need. Apple Music or Spotify Premium, which is crazy. Yeah. Done. Let's just say you have Netflix, HBO, Amazon, Apple, and Spotify. You have 5 subscriptions. Just 5. I'm being super. I'm assuming that this is like being under. That's $600 a year. Every year. If you remove the Apple Music, I know a lot of people get their cloud. Because Apple iCloud storage. Done. Yeah, that's $515 a year. That's insane. That's if you just got Netflix, HBO, Amazon, Apple, family monthly music. No, sorry. $335. That's $300. You can go and just hand 30. Oh yeah. What's another one? Everyone, YouTube Premium, $15. I'll just go, yeah, $15. That's what it is. Yeah, it's $515 a month. And that's just like, if you just do HBO and Amazon and Apple Cloud and Netflix and Google. That's just 5 subscriptions. I know people out there got fucking probably like 30 of these. Minimum 3 gig card, blah, blah, blah. That's insane. $515. You can just go directly to someone that you consume a ton of their content. This is going to go into the next segment, like value for value, where I'm getting so I run an ad blocker pretty much everywhere under the sun. I use a lot of free and open source software, pretty much exclusively. And instead of me paying $515, I will go. I think it's Open Collective. It's probably not that. It is Open Collective. Is it? I could be wrong. Nope. Is it not? I'm wrong. Open. Damn. There's some open source ways that I can fund, and I can't remember one of them. There's a one I have handed money to. Nope, that's not it. LibreCAD. Nope. Damn, they really gotta stop using the word Libre. It's always Libre too. But like email, like I pay for Proton because I like them. I pay for who else? There's another. I don't really do that too much. I'm trying to think. I don't really do that much. I don't pay for that much. I'll buy, like I'll donate. Like I donate to there's another because I pay with my Monero in a lot of places, and I do that because it's just the way to go. There's even a GitHub guy, of course. I believe there's Open Collective. I was right. I'm not retarded. Yes. It was Open Collective. I thought I was crazy. So you can. Company. Search. You can. Yeah, you can. You can like donate on like a recurring basis for like organizations, so they can continue to exist, which is, you know, a good thing. But there's a GitHub page for of course. There's a GitHub page. If you've thought of it, there's a GitHub page. There's GNU PG, even you plus Patreon. There's Patreon. Get hired by a company to work on a project. Grants, consulting, paid support, SaaS company, copyleft plus paid license, open core, foundation, consumer, venture capital, restricted license. Blah 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 blah. I think Font Awesome. There's a lot of really good projects out there that you can just donate directly, like Graphene OS, and that's what you should do. If you use something, even if it's $1 or $2 or $3, just take $3 and just hand it to them one time. They'll definitely appreciate that. Is it life-changing money? Of course not. Nothing is there's Ghost, a non-profit organization built open source technology for modern publishing. Ghost is a blog platform. And a lot of these companies are structured where they literally have to, they don't have to, some do, they have to be transparent with their way they spend their money. And I think that's a good thing to do. Hey, if I'm going to hand you my money, I would love to know how you guys spend it, so you're not fucking throwing it away. Like, they have a team. They've been a fully remote company since 2013, long before it was common. Never had an office in the history of business, which is kind of cool. These days, we span 5 continents, 16 nationalities, 15 languages. That's cool. Like, this shows you, people are like, open source doesn't generate money and just fails. And that's just dumb. There's tons of really cool open source projects out there that just contribute their time and their effort for the greater good. And these guys and girls and people could just literally fuck this up. Like, fuck this, I'm just gonna go and make millions of dollars doing something else. Or sell my soul. You know what I mean? Like, just not have to sit there and work for an open source project where they're probably making way less. That's the beauty of it. And I think that's the difference, is we need to stop being so focused on like putting our money into proprietary software and stuff that's a recurring subscription. That's crazy. $500 a year. Look, if you take that $500 one time, you can go to the Tour Project and do a one-time donation. Go to the Tour Project. They do so much good. Do a one-time donation. $500, and they'll give you a hoodie. They'll give you a hoodie, but only a hoodie, no hat. Damn them. No, I don't want a gift. I want to have someone else. Come on, give me both. What if I donate $1,000? Do I get 2? Do I get 2 gifts? No, I don't. I still don't. Lame. It's okay. You donate $500 to them. They do it. I don't think they can take crypto for specific reasons, so just use a prepaid card. But then there's I2P, which we'll get into in a minute. I finally got I2P to work, which is awesome. I don't know if they have a way to donate. Do they? Host services for yourself and others. Self-hosting almost anything from SSH server to yourself to an activity pub forum for everyone and anything between IPv4, especially if you write down instructions for others, almost anything you can think of. Reseeding, get new participant routers on the network. That's awesome. They have a blog. Like, these are all things that, like, I think and people don't realize how much we rely on stuff like this, like, oh my god, WordPress, whatever the fuck's going on with them. There's Linux. Linux runs like a huge chunk of the world. You can donate to the Linux Foundation. It's just, I think people, we're in such a, I get the convenience part, like pop up Netflix and just watch and don't think about it and let them take their $10 a month with ads now, and just move on. Or YouTube and like walk away from the ad mod, like watch the 15 fucking ads. I'm actually concerned to even be logged in anywhere with my YouTube account and run an ad blocker, because I know they're like, YouTube is like cracking down on uBlock Origin, and eventually uBlock Origin will be, I think in like, I believe that uBlock Origin is going to be defunct. Soon, if not already. And that's insane. And sad. Yeah, I don't think you can add it anymore. Or it's going to be very close to... Yep, switch to Chrome install extension, blah, blah, blah. I'm not super aware when... I know, like, it's coming. And you're going to get rid of it. And it's kind of stupid because I hate ads. Have you ever tried to go? Yeah. Google warns uBlock Origin and other extensions may be disabled soon. I think you can actually get a developed like where it's like a super alpha like Chrome browser that already has this. The extension may soon no longer be supported. It like gives it a head time, or it's just disabled. They like Menta Allah. He did a thing on it, and that's insane. Google says verified email for Sir Zygmunt. 70%. Interesting. Yeah, so you're kind of like fucked, man. Server flaws and E2E codes. Like, and this goes into like the trust and like the sponsorships and like the ads that we do. Like you have to put a lot of trust into. Whoa! I just came across something real quick. This is live. I'm not even gonna say anything actually. I'll wait till the. How old is this? It's October 20th. It was written. Yeah, I'll note this to see what new 2023. Oh, okay, never mind. It's vendor. Apparently there was a bug in flying E2EE cloud storage platforms used by millions. But whatever, I'm gonna stay on topic. I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. Sorry to step away for a second. Back to brain thoughts. This is where value for value comes in. If you see something and you're like, hey, I'm going to block ads on this website and reduce them from getting a couple pennies to maybe $1 or $2. But what I'm going to do in return is I'm going to just donate directly to this person, this funding, this blog, or I could turn the ads on, turn my ad blocker off for the said person, walk away for the ads that are fucking annoying every fucking mid-roll too, by the way. Walk away for them, let them play out, come back. It's that simple. I mean, like Vandanium, I gotta learn how to say that word somehow. It wasn't good at ad blocking. Like, at all. And it kind of sucks. But they pretty much said it's to mitigate fingerprinting. The blocking list is very small. It's planned to extend in the future, from what I have read. You can just use... And a lot of people have asked this. You can just use... hold Oh, that's really old. They're pretty much saying use like a DNS and a VPN. Like, there's also Chromite that kind of like pretty much dude, that's just back on my browser rant. The thing is, like, the internet's really just a browser. Everything is just either a browser, YouTube, browser, text. But back to my original point, you should definitely 110% start donating and supporting creators that you get a lot of value in return. I think that's the point. If these people are doing it full time and they're essentially giving you something in return, I see no harm in it, personally. You know, but onto the off my soapbox. It just sucks because I see a lot of projects end due to funding, or they have to take sponsors to exist, or they have to do they have to like go out of their, like, somewhat stretch their ethics to feed themselves. And I get it, man. It's not crazy. Now, I2P versus Tor. Tor has had a lot of oopsie daisies. There was that Tor vulnerability. Well, Firefox vulnerability. And that because Tor is based on Firefox. Not a big... not a good... It's like it was like a 0 day. And when you get into these 0 days, dude, like, especially if you use this for specifically to hide your anonymity, like hide yourself. Now, I believe they said it wouldn't de-anonymize you, and they patched it. But if it gets to that point where, like, these patches don't get introduced, and it does weaken your security, and it does de-anonymize you, that's a huge thing, man. That's not good. I mean, there's vulnerabilities literally leaking every day that you don't even think about or come across. But I2P compared to Tor in the routing section, the comparison of Tor and I2P terminology is pretty similar in many ways. Much more of the terminology is different. The benefits of Tor over I2P: it has a bigger user base, it's much more visibility in academic and hacker communities, benefits from formal students and anonymity resistance, and preference as a non-anonymous visibility university-based leader. It's already solved some scaling issues I2P has not yet to address, and has significant funding. Has more developers, including several that are funded. Is more resistant to state-level blocking due to TLS transport layer bridge. I2P proposes for full restricted routers, but these are not yet implemented and big enough that it has adaptive blocking and DDoS attempts. The benefits, and then at the core, high-capacity nodes provide higher throughput and low latency. C, not Java. Ew. I'm a Java hater, so understandable. Benefits of I2P over Tor: designed and optimized for hidden services, which are much faster than Tor, fully distributed and self-organizing, peers are selected by continuously profiling and ranking performance rather than trusting claim capacity. That is a disadvantage. Tor is centralized in a sense. Tor client nodes have a very low bandwidth overhead. Tor centralized control nodes control reduces the complexity at each node and can effectively address the syllabus attack. That is something to be aware of. They have low bandwidth and they are centralized. They choose. Fully distributed and self-organized. Peers are pretty much on I2P peers are selected by continuously profiling and ranking performance rather than trusting a claim capacity. Flood-fill peers, directory service, and are very varying and untrusted rather than hard-coded. No trust is the best kind of trust. You should, this is kind of like Wi-Fi and cellular networks. They should all be considered hostile and nothing less. And when you consider them hostile, you should put very little to no trust in these networks because you don't know what they're doing with the data in the back end. This isn't a tinfoil hat schizoid moment. This is just me explaining how good security and privacy should be looked at. I trust Brave more than I trust Google, even though it's Chrome-based, so I'm going to use Brave, even though I trust neither of them in the same capacity because the browser is the gateway to the internet. It has a lot of information on me. This is how you should view security and privacy. This is the scale that it should be at. I trust this company and this browser a little bit more because I think they're a lot more transparent. Thus, I'm going to give them a slight more amount of information that I would give a Chrome browser in itself or Microsoft Edge in itself, etc. This is just the reality of it. You have to treat everything as if it was hostile in a very nuanced sense, and then you decide what you want to give and who you want to give it to based on a per case basis. I think most people should take that approach. I personally don't trust my cell phone provider, so I don't use my cell phone provider. Just as an example, I don't insert my SIM card. I use Wi-Fi, or I use a hotspot, or I don't, It's just a level of trust. The other benefits, it has packet switch instance instead of circuit switch instance, peer-to-peer friendly, small enough that it hasn't been blocked or DDoS much at all. Flood peers, directory services are very varying and untrusted rather than hard-coded. Peers are selected by continuously profiling. Unidirectional tunnels instead of bidirectional circuits, doubling the number of nodes a peer has to compromise to get the same amount of information. Counter arguments and future discussions are here, which is like, oh, that was weird. I think it's the same. Oh, yeah, it is. The bandwidth overhead being full peer is slow compared to TOE. Tor, Java, not C, both TCP and UDP transport, integrated automatic update mechanism. The bandwidth, essentially all peers participate in the routing for others. I2P APIs are designed specifically for anonymity and security, while SOCs are designed for functionality. These are fundamental difference. This is not like, oh, Tor is better than I2P, or I2P is better than Tor, but both of them do better things than the other. The benefits of Tor over I2P is that perspective. Other potential benefits of I2P not implemented and may never be implemented, so don't count on them, is defense versus message counter analysis by garlic wrapping multiple messages, defense versus long-term intersection by adding delays, various hops other hops, various mixing strategies, and tunnel level. Create a tunnel that will handle 500 messages a minute, where the endpoint will be inject dummy messages if the insufficient messages. These are just perspectives of onion proxy, node. These are like the terminology. Like Tor is called a cell, I2P is called a message. Client, router, client. Entry node, in proxy. Exit node, out proxy. These are all like semantical, like what they call them. But you have to remember, I2P is trying to solve a different issue. There's how to increase. I think I2P is kind of cooler because everyone is essentially a router. It routes all the traffic. It's more decentralized instead of an central authority. So when you set up I2P, you are essentially becoming one of, based on the longevity of you on there, you are essentially becoming one of the ways that people can route their traffic. Now, even if you get firewalled, you can still use I2P. You don't have to open up ports in your router in order to be there, but it does help the network. And the longer you run it, the more it helps. There was a project called Prestium that got defunct. Unfortunately, because I think it was so easy for people to just jump on Prestium because it was just on a flash drive and you just plugged it in and it fucking worked, man. Tor and I2P are both pretty much decentralized and anonymous peer. That's not true about the Tor pro. This is why fucking blogs should never, ever write. Oh my god. I love reading blogs about stuff where they just say things. I don't think you can call Tor decentralized. By definition, actually. Because they have there's 9 directory authorities that act as the root trust for the entire Tor network. If you don't trust a simple majority of the directory authorities, then you shouldn't use Tor. This is valuable property decentralized. I'm not saying like I'm not saying that decentralized is the only answer and that it's perfect and that it's, but there is that is something to think about, that Tor isn't really technically decentralized or an authority. They have like a massive amount of I think it's like 10 nodes or something, and then they every 10 minutes they cycle you a new guard relay, I believe. Yeah, it's a directory authority. 2, 3, 4, 5. I love running a Tor relay too, by the way. It's super fun. You can run one on a Raspberry Pi as long as you have good internet connection and your bandwidth is I have unlimited bandwidth, so I'm going to use all of it. Fuck my ISP. Fuck my ISP, and I'm going to use all the data. Every time I look at what my data usage is, I hope that whoever's watching it, they're like, wow, that guy he actually truly used a lot. Yeah. I hope they're upset. Fuck them. Fuck my ISP. But beyond that, I think it's something to take into account that I2P and Tor essentially solve the same issue, but they are fixing. They're trying to fix the same problem. They just have different approaches, and that's a good thing. That's like relatively a good thing. That's not everything needs to be the same. You can't have. This is like the same thing with other Android operating systems and like custom ROMs or however you want to look at it. Like sometimes I just like going on I2P because it's just cooler. It's just funnier. Like everyone's seen you know, Tor dark hidden sites on the Tor network. That's not like really that impressive anymore. I think there's some cool, but it's not always as nuanced as, it's not always as crazy as you think. Sometimes it's just fucking schizoids on there, and that's it. You're just getting someone that has internet access, and they want to. I would like to set up an I2P blog at some point, maybe, to just put my my thoughts on there. That'd be kind of cool, but it's very. I don't like writing that much. It's time consuming, and that's just a personal take. I believe it's here. Sometimes I hate going through Linux because it doesn't align with my values. JK. I think, and it's running. Sometimes I like when I go in I2P. The cool thing is with I2P is you can, side note, you can send email. I believe my email is still up. Yep. It's N is Nancy, F is in Frank, H is in Henry, at mail.i2p. You can send me email if you want to. I'll put says it can't connect to local host. The weird thing is, I don't know if this is new or if this is old. Because I could have sworn I was emailing people. I believe they even say if you don't use your email for a certain period of time for Postman services. Postman service is providing service excellence for the IP team since 2004. It's kind of based. I believe they tell you they will delete your email after a certain period of time. Don't send mails to your normal Don't use poll intervals for the POP3 service. Interesting. Do you not use comfort criminal activity illegally, like fishing or stalking or illegal? Yeah. I might have to make up a new one. No, you can read it offline, which is kind of cool. So nfh@mail.i2p. Send me email. I like reading. I hate email, but I like reading email. And if it doesn't end up, if it's something wrong and it's not working, that I can just set up a new one and I'll figure that out. But the cool thing about I2P is you get some really smart people on this place. And some really not smart people and just some schizoid takes, and it's awesome. And then you can torrent as well. But I would back to like me not like I don't like reading. I don't like writing. I love reading. I don't like writing at all. I would like to eventually maybe do a blog on there where I just write some thoughts. Brazil's a rescue. I love this. I love reading insane stuff on ITP. It's really great. It's honestly reminds me, because it's like this person just didn't take their meds this week, and it's awesome. I think there's even a Reddit. Yeah, like I think each site. I know there's zero net, but it's not good. I wouldn't go there unless you were looking for illegal content. It's not a good site, I'll tell you that. And then I'll set up manage plugins. Yeah, it's so cool. It's such a cool. It just reminds me of the internet back in the day, which is kind of a good thing. And I don't know if people are always like fascinated by stuff like this, but maybe it's a me thing. I guess this is kind of like my point is you should use an alternative in order to keep your not only your anonymity at a higher rate, but you should also make sure in mind that you aren't trusting everything that somebody's trying to sell. I guess this is like the overshare. This is like the synopsis. If anyone's made it this far, you should really consider how much information you trust from a source that you listen to, and you should really think about how much free software you use, and how good of it, like how much better it's made your life, and how much different has it impacted you as a person, and how can you contribute back. It doesn't always have to be with money. It can be with your time. It can be with spreading the information that this exists, because then that person might contribute. It might be contributing to the project. It might be handing, looking for bugs, testing software. I'm an alpha tester for Graphene OS, and I report when stuff doesn't work. That's my contribution, and sometimes I shill out some Monero. Just like Lightning with Bitcoin, that exists. There's plenty of podcast apps and different platforms you can send Lightning, which is slightly better privacy. Obviously, Bitcoin is not as private as everyone makes it out to be. And it's cool when I see people donate to projects that have a good impact on people in society, whether you think it or not. But that's the point. Is look at the stuff that you're spending your money on, and think of it as, hey, do I need HBO Max? Do I need this? And how can I remove this to make it better? And how can I make it how can I make my stuff, how can I make my contribution better to stuff that I use that makes my life better? Value for value. That's my point. Whether you use this or made it this far to listen to some dude with a mic on the internet to rant is not the important part, but what is most important. Oh, I think that is a Reddit clone. Or interesting. Whatever. I think that these are all things that you need to. There's some tools that are barely like they get an update like once a month, and they have so much value to me. And I mean I donate either money or contribute some other way to it. That's the point that I'm trying to get to, and that's super important. Maybe next rant on the internet, I'll definitely be maybe bringing some news and definitely bringing something, some more applications that I can maybe see if I can carve out a segment where I bring up applications that I use or I've tested. I'm definitely going to do a 3-year review on Graphene OS, and then also why no browser is the best browser is whatever you demean value. It's just my opinion. But I'm already at an hour and 31 minutes, and I literally just fucking yelled into the... This is me yelling. This is what I pay for, and this is what I spend my time with, is rambling and yelling into the void at at this time at night. It was just kind of funny to me, but that's kind of my thought process. Until next time, I will see y'all later.